I am Generic Redstone Genius, and today we will be looking at a shotgun TNT cannon. Quickly, before we get to the demonstration, let me explain what I mean. This cannon fires in a spread pattern, meaning that it damages a really large area. To achieve this, we have a 3-block wide TNT cannon, so you can see it's 3 blocks wide, the chamber. And this means that we also have to dispense the TNT in a unique way for both chambers, both the firing and where the payload is. That's enough talking about how this cannon works. Let's fire it. So as you can see, it completely and utterly destroyed this. It will have gone a little bit more further that way, and even further that way. So as you can see, it has a huge range of damage. But now let's get into actually how you can build this cannon yourself. So now we're going to look at what items we will need to make this cannon. And this looks a little bit confusing, so just let me quickly explain first before you decide to start gathering materials. This is a choice, so you either have to do 32 slime blocks and 8 honey blocks, or 32 honey blocks and 8 slime blocks, whichever is easier for you to acquire. So you have a choice, it doesn't really matter. Then you have to get more than what it says here. So you'll need a few stacks of just building blocks. You'll need about a few stacks of redstone dust, and for TNT you will need several shulker boxes full. Then you'll need a button. You'll need 2 stacks plus 3 dispensers. We will need also 64 observers plus another 60 observers. We will need 8 sticky pistons, 5 target blocks, 13 non-movable objects that are also solid, so that can mean furnaces, blast furnaces, smokers, obsidian. And then we'll also need around 32 slabs. That's only approximately 32 slabs. We'll need 18 snow blocks for the chamber. And then we'll need 4 comparators and 23 repeaters. And a little trick I'm going to be using for this tutorial is I'm going to fill up this dispenser with TNT. So I'm going to hit Control and then pick block, or the scroll wheel, and you'll see that it says dispenser plus MBT data, and you can place it down, it's still full of TNT. So I'm going to use that for the building, just so I don't have to load every dispenser manually. You can do that too if you're building in creative, but if you're building in survival, you will obviously have to load it manually. And one more quick thing before we get into actually building it, but I just use the trick where you preload the dispensers with TNT and then build it. However, in survival you can't do that, and you also don't have unlimited TNT. And the dispensers go through TNT at different rates. The dispensers in this section, which is the payload section, which is the section that actually blows up over there, goes through more TNT than the dispensers in the projection section, so that they fire this TNT over there. So this TNT only fires once. These dispensers only fire once, whereas the observers cause these dispensers to fire multiple times. So that means that there needs to be more TNT in these dispensers than these dispensers. So approximately, for every single TNT, every 1 TNT in these dispensers, there should be about 16 in these dispensers. Meaning if you have 4 TNT in these dispensers, there should be about a stack of 64 in here. That's just so that they run out at the same time, and like this section doesn't empty out before that section, because if you put even amounts, that will happen. But let's get into actually building it now. So just before we start actually building, last thing I promise, if you're in survival, it's very useful to have an elytra or to have trapdoors so that you can get under 1x1 areas. I'm in creative, and if you're in creative, you can just switch into spectator mode. And also, I forgot to mention in the beginning, but you're going to need trapdoors and water buckets, but that'll be added in, so don't worry. So first thing we're going to do is build some blocks off the ground. As long as it's over about 6 blocks, it's good, because this cannon basically shoots in a straight line, but you don't want a straight line going like across the ground because the ground slows it down. So go anywhere above 6 blocks up, and if you're already in the air, it doesn't matter. Like if you're already in the air, you can do it from there. Like if you have a base so you already mount the cannon pretty high, that's fine. The cannon just needs to be mounted above the ground. Then we're going to place 2 blocks out like that, and then we're going to place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My textures aren't loading, sometimes that happens. But 5 blocks out. Then we're going to grab our dispensers, and we're going to place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we're going to place these blocks with dispensers. And this is going to go all the way, so to 6 blocks, or 6 high. I'm holding space and shift, so I stay steady, and I can place that. You can do that if you're in creative, but if you're in survival, you just have to stack up. So that is 2, 4, 6 high. Sorry, I was just counting that 6 high. And then what we'll do is we'll go in here, place a block up, and go across like this. Now this is just leaving air room. Sorry, I did not mean to place that one. So that's just making air room, and we have to do the same thing here. Now these are just in the middle, because like I said, it's a 3, oh my god, what's going into me? It's a 3 wide cannon, so there needs to be, it needs to be dispensed in a unique way. So, the one disadvantage to the trick I mentioned earlier is that if you misplace, all the TNT falls out, and then you need to get rid of it. Then we need to place a block out like this, and then the dispensers all the way up. And same thing here. And the same thing on the other side. So now this is the part that it would be useful to have the elytra, because you'd have to like dive under there or use the trapdoor to get under there, but I can just fly out or use spectator mode. So we have to go 6 blocks up again. Like so, and then let's see, spectator mode. And then you can break these, they don't need to be there. We also have to fill these in, just in case, because, so water doesn't leak out of them. And this needs to be your non-movable object. So this needs to go up. And my apologies, I meant to place the furnaces. And that needs to be there. You might be wondering, since we actually have a room, why can't we just place more dispensers? But that is because we need, there's no way to power them. If these were dispensers, there'd be no way to power them, because other circuits would get in the way. And essentially, that is, I used furnaces, which kind of are similar to dispensers, which is a little bit of a mistake for demonstration purposes. I should have used blast furnaces. Again, my apologies, but just make sure that you don't confuse them. I'll try and tell you if it's a furnace or not. But then what we're going to do is we're going to place downwards facing dispensers. So that's just going to be a block there, and dispenser. Make sure it's full. Now this is where you'd absolutely need the elytra or trapdoor, because there's no other way out. And if you're wondering how I'm quickly transitioning, it's F3 and N. So now we got that in there. We can also place some blocks in here. Okay, so now what we need to do is come back around to the front and place 3 by 3. That's 3 by 3 grid of blocks. And on this, out of the dispenser, so making sure we have an air block for these dispensers and room for that dispenser to dispense, we are going to place blocks like that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to get our trapdoor. And you can crouch down or just break a block here and then go one. Just going to break this, but there's other ways to do it. And then on top of those blocks, we're going to put dispensers on top of the trapdoors. Now this is just for the payload section. Now this is going to go up all the way until we reach level of this, and then we're going to go 2 higher than that. We can also now put in the water in the back, which I forgot to do earlier, but you can do it as soon as you finish the trapdoors. And this is where you need your elytra or other trapdoors to get in. But if we did it correctly, nothing should be leaking, which it isn't, so that means we did it properly. And if you're wondering, I think I might have said this, but it's F3 and N to quickly transition from creative to spectator. But now what we're going to do is on this side, we're just going to be able to place a block out. And we're going to be able to place dispensers all the way up to the level to match the height of the other wall to our left and now to our right. And now we're going to do on this side, however, we need 3 blocks just to be safe, basically, just so nothing hits it. But I tried doing 2, but it didn't work out. So, most of the times it worked, but sometimes if it just misfires, glitches slightly. So this one should be 6 high, so that's 4, so it should be 2 more. Perfect, and then we can break these. And now what we have to do is place snow here. It's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's 3 high for all of them. And the reason for the snow blocks is I just found it to be the best way to get the TNT to shoot straight. If you just do a flat block, I find it shoots like downwards a little bit. If you do a slab, I find it shoots too far upwards, like an upward angle. 3 snow blocks I found is the best way, because if you compare it to a slab, it's just a tiny bit shorter. But that's basically the cannon entirely placed out. Now we have to wire it up, which is easier said than done. So wiring this thing up is extraordinarily complicated. The reason that there's all the cuts is I have to keep them going back to the original cannon to double check. But what we're going to do is we're going to place 2 blocks out like this. And what I'm going to do is just place the blocks in first. So it's going to be another 3 blocks like that. And then what's going to be is a block, a block, a block, a block, another block, and then a block. And then the same thing on the other side. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a block. And now what we're going to do is place a block here, like so. Place a block up. And then we're going to just basically completely copy what we did, but just on this level. And on just one side, not both sides, just one, we're going to go a block up, and we're going to just, my bad, place like that, but only on one side, not both. And also, sorry, one more thing, on this side, we're also going to just place a block here. And then now what we're going to do is continue this little pattern up. So block on top of slab, new slab, block on top of slab, new slab, block on top of slab, new slab, and then just another slab there. And now we're actually going to place the redstone for it. So this needs to be repeater, 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 repeater. And just redstone on all the other blocks, except for this one. And same thing on the other side. And now same thing here, we also have some redstone there just to bring it all the way up. Repeater, repeater, all set to 1 tick delay. Now for here, we'll actually get to that later. Just because I didn't want to explain it properly. Because I think understanding how it works is important. So now that we've had all this then, what we need to do is, the reason we placed the block there earlier is because this, when this dispenser gets powered, the signal will go through it, and we can use that to power this set of middle dispensers. And the way that works is that when you have a redstone line running on top of dispensers, it not only powers that dispenser, but the dispensers underneath it. So it will power this dispenser and the one underneath it. And now here, what we do is we'll place redstone, our repeater, and redstone here to power the other middle dispensers. So now it's that wired up, so now we have to go here. Redstone, redstone, repeater to keep it all in sync and also give it enough strength. And now redstone all on top of these. And if you use furnaces like I did, don't accidentally place redstone in there. So it should look like that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to get into wiring. That's basically this part done, except for one thing I just realized I forgot, which is this section here, which we will need target blocks. So target blocks all along like that. On the side opposite, I find just to do opposite that you did the middle dispensers. We will do it on this side, so we'll place a repeater, a block like this off the repeater. And sorry, that should actually be a furnace or a non-movable object. A block like there. Another block down here. A block there, and then a block all along there, and that will power the bottom dispensers. So now that's the entire back of it, the propulsion system. That's all that wired up, and now we have to do the most complicated part, which is the front. So now we're on to making the payload part being wired up. Now this is easily the most delicate part, and I even messed it up. This is my second attempt in the tutorial, as you can see here. But I'm not too upset about that because I messed up and made mistakes that I had to correct during that tutorial, so that's alright. But make sure you don't mess up because you do not want to have to repeat it for a second time, like I did. But what we're going to have to do is place observers facing the face of it, facing that way. And we're going to have to place that on the back of all of these ones and all of these ones, because the observer will only power this one, and then that one. So we have to do on all of them. Whereas when we're on here, we have to put the observer there, because they'll power that one, and that one, and then there, or sorry, there, because they'll power. So basically, I recognize that sounds a bit confusing, but essentially what we need to do is place a block here, and actually we can temporarily break these furnaces, all of them but the bottom one, and then just place an observer. Sorry, let me get into position better. Like so. And it's a little bit complicated to get into the right position. I pity those of you who are trying to make this in survival. But it should be possible with scaffolding and whatnot. We can just kind of climb into the cannon a little bit. And there we go. Nice and simple. Now we can place these furnaces back. And again, be very careful. You don't want to do what I did on my first attempt. And now we're going to just have to do it for this one. So you have to shift click, of course. And then here. So we're leaving a 2-block gap, and then 1 block gap, this block, and then we leave the 2-block gap after we break this, and then we have to do all of them for this one as well. So now on this side anyways, you have to be extraordinarily cautious, because if you update any of those blocks, this whole entire thing will go up in smoke because there's no water there. If these ones accidentally misfire, that's alright because they land in water, but here there's no water because when the cannon actually functions, it gets sent out before it explodes. So that's make sure, be extra careful. And then what we're going to do is just essentially go a block on top of it here. Then we know that there needs to be a block because that's where the observer needs to be pushed to. Then we need another space for it, so here. Then off of there, now you have to pick, are you wanting to do predominantly slime or honey? So if we're doing mainly slime, you can just go 1, 2, all the way down until we are in line with the bottom observer. For this one, we need to go one closer and one out to the side. So we can go like so, and we have to go 1 up, and then all the way down until right there. And sorry, that actually needs to be half slime, half honey. My apologies. So it should be 4 and 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this needs to be on the same level as that one. So again, like so. In fact, they're 1 block out, and then 2 blocks down from where I did it, and then so it should in total be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then for this one, what we need to do is just block, server, block here, observer, and they're all just in line with the like opposite observers. And now on this one, you have to do the same thing, except it's much easier, luckily, because I made another mistake. I made the same mistake on my other attempt of it. I'm very sorry. But these need to be in one more. And so do these ones. I'm so sorry about that. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. And now off of here is where we put our observers. So this is a lot easier to place in, because we don't have to place the blocks above it, but it's also a lot easier to misplace it because the margin for error is like, so just make sure you're careful. Make sure you think before every click, because with a few extra seconds, just be careful versus an hour of extra work. And now what we need to do is wire up all the pistons to this. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do for this is get out our comparators. Then we're going to build blocks out from this one here. And we're going to go out 4 blocks. And we're just going to place redstone on all of that. And then we're going to make a 2x2. And we're going to place one comparator that way, other comparator that way, and then redstone across. Then what we're going to do is we are going to go down like so. And we are going to place a redstone here, a repeater, a block there, a repeater there, a repeater there, a block off of this repeater like that. Then what you can do is place a block off of there, and then what we need actually is our slabs. So block, redstone, redstone. And sorry, my apologies actually. Goes up like this, then like that. Because you don't want that linking up, you need the repeater. And then we can place another 3 blocks here, 1, 2, 3. And then we can place another block here with a one tick repeater. And then we can take this all the way around like this until it's in line with that, like so. And then what we need is just to place redstone, redstone, or repeater, redstone, 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 redstone. And no repeater on this one actually. And then we just need sticky pistons off of all of them. Sticky piston. Sorry, that should have been a repeater, my fault. Sticky piston. Again, it's kind of complicated to place all this stuff in. So if you're in survival, I apologize for this. And honestly, in this situation, it's just going to be easier to place a block in there. And that should be that entire front working. But now, basically, all you need to do is place a wooden button here. And unless I forgot anything, which I hope I didn't, all you'd have to do is repeat what I just did on this side, which I'm not going to show on the video, I'll just do it, because this tutorial is going on for a long time. But yeah, once you've done that, it should be completed. So let's just finish that and then test it. Okay, so I made a catastrophic mistake. These dispensers do not need to be there. They actually will blow up the thing if they are there, so make sure you break those. I am very sorry about that, but these things happen. But yeah, now that should be it done once you've done on the other side. And another mistake I can't believe I made, but we need to get the furnace. And these 2 blocks here, they need to be furnaces. Or non-movable objects. But now that's it basically completely done. So all we have to do is test fire it, and then we're good. So let's do that. So as you can see, all the TNT went flying out. That works exactly like it's supposed to. So that's pretty much it for this video. I've been Generic Redstone Genius, and I hope you guys enjoyed it.